What is up, everyone? This is Joe Rowan, your lead fantasy analyst at Just Baseball, coming at you today with some sleepers at the hot corner position. And I got a couple rookies for you, and one surprising, consistent veteran is on the list here. So let's talk a little bit about them. Coming at 381st off the board is Coby Mayo. Now, the definition of sleeper holds very true for Mayo, especially since he may not even be on Baltimore's opening day lineup, unfortunately. Most of their prospects have graduated and are in the majors, leaving Mayo in a bit of a standstill. But don't fret. I'm here to tell you to calm down. This is what gives him such a cheap price at 381st overall. And the good news, Mayo has dominated at AAA. It's time for Mike Elias to say, graduate every one of these prospects and say, hey, come on, the bat is yours, Mayo. Let's give you 400 at bats. I think the Orioles should do this. A lot of people are telling them to do this. We'll see if Mayo, how much time he spends in AAA, if they do start him down there. But as as I've said many times in the past, Mayo, he's a hitter that will show signs of a lot of future success at the major league level and has before. He's simply dominated in AAA Norfolk, in 89 games at said level in 2024, put up 22 bombs with a 926 OPS. I think the kid is ready, and we saw what he looked like in the minors when he was in a rhythm. Last year when they brought him up, it was pretty rough with Baltimore. He had a 17 game major league debut and it didn't go well, But the thing is with Mayo, he wasn't in an everyday role, and that can impact, a young player's confidence. And time and time again, we see this with rookies. Mark Vientos is a good example. He wasn't an everyday player a couple of years ago when the Mets brought him up, and it was not good. He didn't get into a flow, and then you saw what he did last year. I believe the same thing will happen with Mayo, and he's going to have a big breakout year. And next, let's talk about 305th off the board, Matt Shaw. He was 305th off the board, but he actually has moved up to 276th off the board. So Matt Shaw is the Chicago Cubs' top prospect, and this kid's going to be good. A lot of people regarded him as the best hitter in the 2023 draft out of the University of Maryland. Go Terps. He's got great offensive upside. And the reason he's going so much before a guy like Coby Mayo is that right now it looks like he's going to be the Cubs opening day third baseman. Especially since they lost out on Alex Bregman, I see Shaw getting a lot of at-bats this season. And, out of everyone on this list, honestly, he's got the most offensive upside. The power-speed combo bodes well for his value in fantasy. He's also one of the smartest players on the field at all times. At least that's what Shaw displayed at Maryland. And, the friendly confines will love cheering for this kid. He's a bulldog who knows how to compete. He has a little bit of an oblique issue, I believe, in spring training, but he'll be good to go, I believe. And I say go with Shaw. He has performed about as well as any other prospect out there. In 121 games last season between AA and AAA, he put up 21 round trippers, 31 thefts, and for an overall OPS of 876. And believe it or not, those numbers actually got better once he graduated onto AAA. So he's regarded as a guy that doesn't have a single offensive weakness in his profile, and I'm buying that all day, especially at 276th overall. And finally, let's talk about the consistent Max Muncy. And he is going at 228th overall. And you might be thinking, well, Joe, I don't know about this one. I don't know if Max Muncy is necessarily a sleeper. Anyone can be a sleeper if their price is cheap enough. That's my thoughts on the subject. 229th overall, that is massively low. Swipe this guy. If you're around that point in the draft and you see him still on the board, swipe him up. Look, when it comes to the Dodgers, the good players get swallowed up in the greatness that is Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Snell, Glasnow, Teoscar. Need I go on? Uh, you get the point. This Dodgers team, everyone's focusing on so many other people that they don't notice how consistent Muncy is. And a lot of times his name comes up in conversations like, oh, his third base defense isn't very good. Who cares? His hitting is very consistent. He's got good power numbers. He's quietly been one of the most important pieces of this Dodgers franchise. It's the reason they have 2 rings. Per 162 games, Muncy averages, get this, he averages 96 runs, 34 bombs, 95 RBIs. Why is this not talked about more often? I mean, he is pulled out of the lineup against lefties, which doesn't help. Or, perhaps it's because he provides 0 speed, which is the truth. But I honestly don't think it's that simple. I think the boring tax, like I talk about, it's in full effect here. Normally when we hear about taxes, they come with negative connotations. Not this time, however. The boring tax here means, or boring discount, if you can, it means drafters are subconsciously overlooking Muncy earlier in drafts because his production is so stable and consistent that it doesn't get much attention. Max homer today. Okay, I mean, he went 0 for 4 the next day, but then he homered the day after that. I'm going to be sticking with the boring and consistent Muncy. I feel like this guy is very disrespected, and he's not the prototypical deep sleeper that everyone loves, but people are still going to give him the love he deserves if he produces, which I know he will. That boring play style could earn you a fantasy title. So with that, thank you for listening. Subscribe to the Just Fantasy Baseball channel. I'll be with you all draft season long and all season long. Don't worry, I won't be going anywhere. And also follow me on Twitter at JRose34. Any questions you have for fantasy, dynasty, redraft, keeper, any of that, auction, just let me know.